What's going on, GameLeapers? This is Coach Iggs. In today's video, 13.14 has dropped, guys. It has hit the rift. So hopefully, all of you in Split 2 are going to have a successful Split 2, and 13.14 is the first patch you guys are going to be playing on. So I thought we'd just go through all of the actual changes that we know about in today's video. So make sure, of course, you stick around for the whole thing to know what the changes are going to be. And guys, if you really want to improve at this game in Split 2, if you want, by the time November comes, to actually peak and hit your rank, your desired rank, we can help you do just that at GameLeap.com. Our Challenger players and coaches daily videos. These might be champion courses, so if you want to learn any champion in the game and play them at the highest level, we've got you covered. If you want to learn macro, if you want to watch like some coaching sessions even, we have everything for you to improve. All you have to do is just click on one of those links and get signed up for that exclusive access. So those links are down below in the description and comment section. So let's get into the 13.14 patch notes. So let's get into the champion changes. Now for Aatrox here, what they've done is increase your Q's damage to scale off more attack damage. So the more AD you build, your Q's will be dealing more damage. This is amazing for Aatrox because with the sweet spots in your Q, that will be dealing even more, especially if you can land them, because yeah, if you're a good Aatrox player, I think you're really going to make use of this. To be honest, I'm a little bit worried for Aatrox players because I think he'll be picked and even banned a heck of a lot more. So you probably won't be able to play him as much as you are, well, kind of like previously in 13.13, right? And they've also buffed his minion damage. So this going up depending on the level you are. So instead of being a flat 55%, this is now scaling from 55% all the way up to 70% at level 16. So big Aatrox buffs. I'm sure there are lots of people excited about this, all the Aatrox mains out there. So let us know in the comment section just how pumped up you are. Now let's move on to Diana. So your Pale Cascade, your W, you're getting two buffs. The W shield, this is increasing the strength of it, and also the damage per orb, this is also increasing based off the AP you have. The actual base damage of your orb is staying the same. So again, the more AP you're building, this will deal more damage. And just like I said, the shield strength, the actual base value of this is going up by 5 at each rank, and it's also going to be scaling more, just like the damage per orb, off more of your AP. So this is quite a big W buff. But that's not all for Diana, because your E is also getting a big buff here, guys. This is going to be scaling more of your AP as well, an extra 10%. This makes Diana, both in the jungle and in the mid lane, just more viable, especially if you're going AP, right? So if you're building like Nash's Tooth, Jack Show, Sunfire Aegis, if you are one of those Chad Diana players going Rocket Belt in the Shadow Flame or something, you're going to be a lot better off this patch because of these AP buffs. And I think it's good for the game because that's what we want to see from Diana. Now, staying in the jungle, we have Hecarim, and your W's bonus armor and magic resist, well, that your W gives you, this is actually decreasing by a lot, by 10. So this is definitely going to make you weaker, right? Because you're not maxing your W until the mid to late game. So just having 1 point in this, you only getting an extra 5 armor and magic resist. Like when you get invaded or you fight early game or there is a skirmish or you gank someone, right? This is going to be really impactful because early game you need to get through this. And we also have to consider here that Hecarim's items are getting buffed as well, right? So if you're going like Spirit Shojin, this is getting some big buffs. So they had to nerf Hecarim a little bit, but honestly, I think this might be too much and makes you way more vulnerable early on. Now, moving into the top lane here, we have Jax. So your E's cooldown is increasing and your ultimate mana cost is also increasing. Big deal, who cares? Still play Jax. Bro, this guy's still going to be picked and banned just as much. He's still going to be as annoying as he is now. And also, just like I mentioned for Hecarim, Shojin getting buffed, Jax players should be interested in this. But the actual nerfs are as follows. So your E cooldown, this is increasing by a second at each rank. Doesn't mean anything. And also the mana cost in your ultimate going up by 50, so going back to what it was, 100, this means nothing either. You're easily going to be able to cast this. Mana isn't really a big issue for Jax, unless you're just like jumping in 24/7 and using your E. But yeah, for good Jax players, these nerfs are very placebo indeed. Now, some nerfs that might not be placebo are to Karthus. So your Q's base damage, this is down by 2 at rank 1, so level 1 essentially, but it is going to be the same at level 5. So early on, you know, during the early laning phase, before you have Lost Chapter essentially, it's going to be harder to last hit minions because your Q is dealing less damage. You'll be dealing less damage to champions, so it will be harder to navigate to Lost Chapter, just like free of charge in every game, like you were in 13.13. 13.14 will be more difficult, but your Q is going to be dealing more damage to monsters. Try to maybe encourage you to play Karthus in the jungle. This will also probably speed up your clear, so watch out for like 2-minute 45 clears on Karthus this patch. Then we have your Defile as well, guys, the actual mana restoration. When you kill an enemy, this is going down by 5, and this is like definitely a good nerf because lane Karthus, who, you know, needs mana more than jungle, because if you're playing jungle Karthus, you have the jungle sustain right through mana, and you also have blue buff. For lane Karthus until Lost Chapter, like I mentioned, you need your E's mana restoration. If you're playing Karthus as an AP carry bot lane, which is what they're really trying to target, definitely worse off, right? Now, one jungler getting changed as well, this is Kindred. So your base HP and base armor, they're going back to what they were a couple of patches ago. So base health is going up by 30, base armor is going up by 3, but your Q's base damage is decreasing and the cooldown is also increasing. Now, this will impact your early game kind of like kills, right? Because you're not getting kills based on your HP or armor. You're getting kills based on your damage and probably your Q's cooldown. So I think early game you're going to be less snowbally, but the thing here for Kindred is that when you get to Trinity Force, bro, you're chilling. I still think this champion is going to have insane win rates. Yes, you might have to play a little bit slower because you're not as strong with your Q, right? But bro, like once you get to Trinity Force, man, this champion is still going to be insane. But probably not as insane, guys, as this next champion, this being Lissandra. So for Lissandra, the amount of quality of life buffs here and buffs to your Q and your ultimate, they need to relax legit. Like this has got to be way too much. I think she's going to be picked and banned not just in pro play because she still has like a little bit of a presence in pro play, but she's also going to be picked and banned in solo Q now as well. So your Q will now slow all enemies hit. Your ultimate, the heal is actually increasing and the damage is increasing and the slow is increasing. This is going to be huge for this champion. She's already a massive cut to so many popular mid laners, whether it's any of the assassins or any melee champion, right? Very hard to get near her. LeBlanc as well with fleet footwork that we've seen recently. Lissandra is going to be unreal in 13-14. So if you're a mid laner, I would quickly elo inflate and play this champion until she gets hotfix nerfed. Now, Milio is getting nerfed as well, so your passive burn damage, this is decreasing, and also your E's bonus movement speed is decreasing as well. But Milio, like his strength is really in his W, which isn't getting touched. So these are definite nerfs, of course they are, and his win rate will drop a little bit, but I don't think it's the most significant thing in the world. Now, Rek'Sai, just like Kindred, guys, one of the strongest junglers before 13-14 got nerfed this patch. So what they did, when you're unburrowed, your W's physical damage, they decrease the base damage by 5. Also, your E, your Furious Bite, this is going to scale off your total attack damage now, and because of that, the actual base damage has gone down by like 50 at each rank. Now, this looks really like catastrophic, but it's really not. It's just scaling off total attack damage, not bonus from like items. So total attack damage means that you can actually just go bruise a Rek'Sai a bit more now because it's not scaling off bonus attack damage from items. So this is really encouraging you to go bruise a Rek'Sai, which I think is just a more satisfying way to play this champion, especially mid-late game when you're not glass cannon and reliant on snowballing out of the early game. Now moving down to the bot lane here, Rell is getting nerfed as well, guys. So your base armor is going down, making you squishier and just more punishable in the early game, but your passive armor and magic resist, these have been decreased. This does matter because during the course of a fight, especially early game, right, you're going to be more killable for sure. But for Rell, the actual fact you're holding onto all the CC in your kit, I still think you're going to be the best support, so I wouldn't worry too much. Now moving back into the jungle here, guys, we have Rengar. So your base health regeneration, this has been decreased. But top lane Rengar, really? Like, who cares about your health regeneration as a jungler because you also have red buff? And then you have your Q, though, that is getting nerfed for sure through the critical strike damage that it deals. So if you're building crit like Essence Reaver, if you're building Infinity Edge, which is getting buffed in this patch, remember, the crit is going up, this is not going to be as good. So maybe just like full out lethality Rengar is the way to go. Duskblade, Prowler's Claw, Edge of Night, Axiom Arc, something like this, right? Sounds pretty good. Now, moving on to another champion who might be able to build something like that, this is Shaco. Your Q's AD scaling has increased, and also your backstab damage has increased as well. This is big for both forms of Shaco. So if you're building crit because of the backstab buff, and Infinity Edge, remember, is giving you more crit. So if you're going something like maybe Essence Reaver into Berserker's Greaves, then into Infinity Edge, that sounds pretty juicy, and I'm kind of keen to get back on the Rift, to be honest, because of that. And then if you're still going Stridebreaker, Blade of the Rune King, that's still going to be viable because the bonus physical damage, this is increasing in your Q as well. Even builds with Duskblade out there, Ghostblade even, these are going to be even better too. Now moving on to Shyvana, your Q's AD scaling has increased, the attack speed has also been added here into your Q, so for your next 2 attacks after you use your Q, which I think is just nice, it will feel really good, but the cooldown has increased because of these kind of big buffs. Then we have your E, which is now going to additionally scale with bonus attack damage. This is encouraging you Shyvana players out there, if there are any, to build attack damage instead of going like Frostfire Gauntlet, which kind of like tank Diana, it's just obnoxious, right? So I think these are good. Then we have Volibear, guys, so the passive AP scaling, this is increasing. Your Q is getting a quality of life change, by the way, which I think will feel nice in your Q, and of course then we have your W's heal, which is increasing, which we've known about for a while. Now your passive damage increasing is the big one here, scaling off more AP. I think this is really good because it pushes Volibear more towards going something like Nash's Tooth and AP, because at the moment, it's kind of in the middle of AD and AP, and there aren't really any good like hybrid items, right? So Volibear is kind of a little bit lost. This pushes him though and gives him a bit more guidance as far as what you should be building. Now, final two champions here, guys, to mention, we have Xerath. So the changes are as follows. Your base mana is going down, but guess what? You're getting more mana back through your passive because the new passives you're getting, the cooldown is now going to be reduced by 2 seconds when you kill a unit. So a minion, for example, in the mid lane. This means you'll be getting more mana back, right? So that's why your base mana has gone down. And also hitting turrets will proc your passive too. So that will give you mana back as well. But because the cooldown is going to be reduced after you kill a minion, the cooldown has been increased to 16 seconds. But this is still an awesome change for Xerath players, and I'm really excited about this. Then we have your ultimate as well. So the excitement doesn't stop here. The number of casts is going up by 1 at each rank. So at level 6, you will have 4 casts, not 3. Level 11, 5 casts, not 4. And at level 16, of course, 6 casts, not 5. This sounds great, but because you're getting more casts, they are reducing their damage a little bit, both the base damage and the AP scaling. So Xerath mains, you should be super happy about this. Final champion here, guys, is Zyra, and if you have enjoyed this video, please let us know by leaving a like down below. It really helps us out. We appreciate it. And we have Zyra, who's getting a lot of quality of life updates to her abilities. So your plant damage from AoE spells, even though this is going down, the actual damage from range auto attacks is going up, and the plant damage to monsters is increasing. Maybe Jungle Zyra is back. But one of the biggest changes here is the amount of seeds, guys, you get on your first rank up. So when you get to level 2, the fact you get another seed here and another plant, your level 2 spike is kind of huge. So if you can get that first in the bottom lane, that's big. And probably the other change here that I think lots of Zyra mains are super stoked about is the flash interaction with your E. This no longer locks Zyra out of using flash during the cast time. So you can actually use your flash now while using your grasping roots, essentially. So guys, let me know what you think of the changes in the comments section. Are you happy with this patch? I'm kind of excited, to be honest. I agree with a lot of this, but yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. I will see you in our next one. This has been Coach Cheeks. Peace.